All right. I think our levels are okay. Let me know if it seems a little unusual. The meter's pretty low, looking pretty low on me. But yeah,
Uh-oh.
because I turned it off. I turned off Chris's mic, and that's because unfortunately Chris is out sick. So get well soon, Chris. And I rolled this old TV and turned it on, and look who's on. It's this guy from the '80s. So a little tease of Indie Heat 2 coming, and Matt. Thank you, Matt, for helping out with some co-hosting duties.
You bet. No problem.
Good. So yeah, this is the only live stream podcast that points a camera at a television to bring you
Yeah.
their host. It's not even like I think Space Ghost Coast to Coast like you actually use green screen, but yeah, we don't even do that. We just point a camera at a television. Yeah, that was my when I moved. Not everything, but when things shut down for the pandemic, and I was still doing my cartoon stream weekly. I had no idea what to do. I didn't have the cameras or anything there. I had to come into the office and get things. And so I ended up trying to point a camera, like a little crappy webcam, at a drawing tablet on my desk. It was really, really bad. That stream is in there somewhere if you go back to like 2020. It's very low tech and very sad. And the chat had a good laugh at me trying to trying to live stream without the proper cameras or software or anything.
Oh.
Yeah, you just can't get away with that anymore. It's everything is so established. All the software and hardware is readily available. All right. So how have you been, Matt?
Good, good.
Good. And
Fighting with Final Cut
oh
Pro.
yeah, yeah.
Massive memory storage wars I'm having trying to edit this mystery box unboxing thing.
Nice. Yeah, so
I'm
real
pretty good.
yeah, nice big treat coming to the channel. Matt got a box of RPG books and just filmed himself going through them. So we will have it's like a treasure chest opened up and it's 80s or 90s mostly. What did you kind of what's the era?
Uh, I would say it's about 75% 80s,
Ooh.
and then the rest is mostly 90s. I think there's some 2000-ish third edition stuff in there.
Oh, okay.
Oops, spoiler, but there's a lot of 80s stuff in there, which is
Nice. Oh
kind of
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, nice, nice. And things are in good shape.
Yeah, for the most part.
That's
I mean,
great. Wow.
I did run into a couple things where I don't know, someone spilled their Coke or
Right,
something,
right,
but
right.
most of the books were in pretty good shape. Actually, a couple of them were in really good shape. Um, I won't spoil what they were, but yeah,
Oh, cool.
it was pretty obvious which games didn't get played.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can see the modules I never ran for basic for advanced D&D because they're still in the plastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, good. Yeah, and we had a little live stream yesterday with talking about. We kind of did a post mortem for our Vaesen campaign, the first part, the Wicked Secret and Other Mysteries. We played through those four mysteries and just kind of talked about them. So Matt and Will joined me, and we kind of went through their characters and kind of their thinking about how things went. We talked a lot about the game. So if you're interested at all about that game and don't have a good sense of it, I think we kind of really chewed on it. We'd spoiled a lot of the mysteries in that book. So if you do plan on running that, or you plan on playing as a player in that, maybe it's not good to
Mm.
listen to. We spoiled a lot of the surprises and deaths and situations in those mysteries, but it was really fun. Yeah, it was fun to reminisce, and I forgot how good that was, how good that campaign was.
Yeah, it got me all nostalgic. Now we need to move it up the list and stuff we revisit.
Yeah, and they're definitely still supporting it. I'm glad they're not talking. I guess it hasn't been long enough. I'm glad they're not talking second edition or anything, because I think it doesn't
Yeah.
really need it. I think it's in good shape, and it's their own IP. So I think they're probably much less likely to
Hmm.
want to refresh the license with their own IPs compared to stuff that they're there's movies coming out, or there's there's new background being generated.
Yeah, I think they're more likely to just do more like regional books
Hmm.
would make more sense probably, explore the folklore of other places kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, and that seems to be that's what they were doing with their list, because they've got England and Ireland, and then they've got the Eastern Europe coming out. So yeah, that's a great idea, and it would be interesting if they do things like Southeast Asia or South Asia, like India, Pakistan. There's be some really cool stuff. I don't know. 19th century though, I guess you got to be careful. Like certain areas are going to
Yeah.
be pretty treacherous. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. There are definitely some situations where you might be accused of
Hmm.
uh, what do you call that? Like celebrating
Yeah.
colonialism or something like that. But
Right. Right.
you could always change the time period, or
Hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah.
or put more of an emphasis on the indigenous culture. Like just set it up where the characters are from that culture.
Yeah, yeah. Instead of the Great White Hunters, visiting the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right, right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, very cool. Yes, and so tomorrow we've got Fallout. We'll pick up. So we may, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Depending on how fast you guys move, it could get nuts, or it could get very tense, and then get nuts the
Mhm.
next session. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, that's been fun too. Fallout was surprisingly fun. And so, Matt, you're working currently on the second kind of film, the second movie, the sequel for Indie Heat. So Indie Heat 2, and
Yeah.
so we'll either have one or two more sessions of Fallout. If Matt still needs more time, we may try some Space 1999. I would love to
Oh
see.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I think that's probably a one session deal. It's 2D20, so we'll know the system enough. And if the PDF is has enough art assets, I think we can probably just drop it into Alchemy or Roll20 and see how it do. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious about how they get away with that. That's one of my favorite settings. One of the classic art directions of the 70s. those form-fitting double knit uniforms.
As
Uh,
long as the alien villain of the week either looks like either Christopher Lee or Peter Cushing,
yes,
I'm in.
yes, definitely. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, in that show. And I think there's a one of the channels that owns the rights to a lot of different video, stuff that they're doing physical releases of. I think does a Space 1999 stream occasionally, where they'll just show the two seasons as a live stream. So yeah, keep an eye out for that if you're interested in what we're even talking about. All right. So let's see. So I think we're good. And not this Sunday, but next Sunday, I've got another Infinity game. I have no idea what what army I'm playing, what I'm even doing. I haven't even thought about it yet. There's some miniatures to assemble, so that may be a live stream one of these nights. And
Oh, we're gonna do a live stream. Cool.
yeah, yeah, I think I'll try that. It's hard, especially because Infinity are a little fussy because it's metal, so it's super glue. So yeah, I can't. There won't be that much exciting going on. But yeah, if I have to get some painting done, that will motivate me. So it just might not be very easy to see. Never figured out the best situation, but good, good. So let's see. Yeah, and we're supposed to get together sometime this month after the holiday. Next week is kind of the holiday in Japan, the Golden Week. It's a little bit scattered this time, but it extends 2 weekends. You have like 2 4-day weekends, and if you take the days off in the middle, then you can have a whole week of holiday. But Japanese people aren't traveling because of the weak yen, so nobody's doing that, and it's just kind of you have random days off then. So yeah, it's not very not very enjoyable. All right. So yeah, let's get started for this week. We got some interesting topics. I tried to mix it up. I tried not to do all wargaming or all tariff
All
information.
tariff talk.
All tariff all the time. We're going to be a 24-hour tariff on the board gaming industry channel.
Yeah. Well, like we can get out of the way right now. I didn't share with Jeremy an article about Atlas Games and later games. If you're familiar with either of those,
Mm.
they're apparently struggling. And Abyss shared
Mhm.
a fire sale at WizKids
Oh, yeah, yeah.
on our Discord channel. He thought it was WotC, so he was kind of doing a little Schadenfreude.
Oh,
But
yeah, yeah.
WizKids is not actually part of WotC, and I feel bad for them because
Mm.
everything they make is probably made in China.
Yeah, and it's probably expensive because it's all pre-painted. Yeah, they don't do any.
Mhm.
There's no hobby involved. Yeah, it's the hero clicks, right? They kind of came into their
Yeah,
money and fame with hero clicks.
yeah. Their first hit was Mage Knight, and then
Right,
they
right.
did Hero Clicks, which was just sort of a reiteration of that. But with superheroes, that was what hit big for them.
Hmm.
But now I think a lot of what their money is these kind of all-in-one pre-painted terrain sets for Dungeons and Dragons. They're like actually
Ah.
licensed little,
Hmm.
little set piece terrain kits that are really expensive.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And during
yeah,
the 50th, they had a couple of like special pieces. I think they did like a baby red dragon or something. Like they did really large, chunks of plastic, kind of decorations like nerd shelf decorations. But
yeah,
yeah, they did a lot of yeah, kind
and
of.
they have a couple Star Trek licenses too. They
Oh
do
wow.
little Star Trek
Oh
games
yeah, yeah.
too.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Because they were kind of stuff that was competing with like X-wing and stuff. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's right. All right. Well, let's get to it, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see what else is happening to the companies on. So it's just a little update on tariffs, but yeah, let's get started for this week. Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Hello.
So Chris is sick this week, so Matt is on the TV in the 80s. So little indie heat inspiration coming at you. But this week on the weekly. So first we'll start with our tariff talk kind of segment, the Tales of the Trade Wars. Then Warmachine Mk4. We talked a little bit about that and the My Mini Factory connection. Roll20 and Demiplane integration. Halo Flashpoint gets its own app. And the Foundry creator talks about AI. So first... Oh, no sound. No, another.
We get the bumper.
Yep, we're getting a bumper, sorry. And we're talking. Boom. All right. The trade wars continue. I guess we've got 3 months of this. So I'll get 90 days out of that bumper. But the update we have is the Pacific Legal Foundation is the group that is working with various companies to sue the federal government, the U.S. federal government. So they have filed a lawsuit on behalf of Stonemaier Games and other small businesses, and they're contesting the legality of these recent tariffs. But what they're also seeking is reimbursement. So they're seeking funds to compensate these companies for tariffs that they have paid, because they're questioning the legality of it and their ability to do it, because what is happening now is Trump is using Biden's International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose these tariffs, and it's a little confusing because that's supposed to be something that is invoked during a national emergency. These are like emergency funds and emergency powers, and I guess it was probably pandemic based, but now it's being used to start a trade war. So yes, so the tariffs and imports specifically from China. So Stonemaier Games is probably the one of the biggest players that in board games that we know about, and so this is this act was used against any unusual or extraordinary threat to national security, but it doesn't mention tariffs. There's no wording for tariffs, and So they're seeking a refund of tariffs paid and also limits on presidential authority. The law firm describes itself as a public interest law firm that defends Americans' liberties when threatened by government overreach and abuse. So some of the members of this lawsuit, so Jamie Stegmaier of Stonemaier Games, they're famous for Wingspan and Scythe. They started basically 2012 on Kickstarter. Rebecca Melsky and Ava St. Clair, who run Princess Awesome and Boy Wonder clothing line. So they're obviously producing in China and having some and other countries and being confronted with this. Quent Cordair of Quent Cordair Fine Art is basically importing art from multiple countries. So they have several countries that they support artists internationally with. They're based in California, and so now they're facing tariffs just importing the art. Peter Paulin, 300 Below Inc., is doing metal fabrication, so has a technology that extends the life of metal. And I was also facing import struggles to get materials into the country. So the law firm says that tens of thousands of American businesses may be affected by this. So their their lawsuit may grow as people are actually paying these funds and want them to be paying these tariffs and having them reproduced. They are representing these clients at no charge. So at the Pacific Legal Fund, Jamie, Rebecca, Ava, Quint, Linda, and Pete are giving free legal services to combat government interference against business. So that's a little more, detail about what was going on. I think we didn't know exactly who else was involved and what the law firm was that was responsible for this lawsuit. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see if they do get reimbursed, and if this sets a precedent that it may be very interesting. Everybody will have to pay these big tariffs, and then they'll sue the government to get it back.
Yeah, and maybe because that's quite a varied group of people in that lawsuit. So maybe there'll be more that jump into it, hopefully. And at the very least, I think we talked about this before, it might get a stay on the tariffs, and it'll get a lot of, hopefully, media attention to the whole problem.
Right. Or it'll just get some judges arrested, It seems to be how it's going. All right. Well, we'll keep you updated. Any details that come out. And like Matt mentioned before the cast, a couple of kind of classic companies are suffering. And a lot of companies, it looks like Matt mentioned WizKids, they are kind of clearing out on-hand inventory to generate revenue to pay these tariffs, to stay afloat. So there's probably a lot of deals being made. And also, I saw just on a forum post, people are saying that Amazon is showing a lot of tabletop RPG books sold out. Like almost everything on hand at Amazon is being sold out. So people are kind of panic buying, worried that there's not going to be any second printing, third printing of some of these books. So if you want it, get it now. And probably people are also hoarding because they grab it off of Amazon and put it right back on Amazon for, triple the price. So we're going to see a little bit of that, the America's classic hoarding maneuver in the after.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, because, filming this unboxing video that I'm editing right now, it's just a box full of different old games, and it crossed my mind. I was like, some of this would probably sell pretty decent on eBay right now. Yeah, and then oh my gosh, one of the guys, and this is a tangent. Sorry, one of the guys in our game group. You familiar with those lit RPG books? The big one right now is that Dungeon Crawl Carl.
Yes.
Yeah. So that guy originally did like sort of a print-on-demand version of those books.
Oh, right.
Now they're so popular that they have official, like, published, from a real publisher and everything. Well, one of the guys in our group bought all of the books in the original self-published versions, and he sold them, the set, for $1,600.
Oh my God, that's insane.
I was like,
yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. And I guess if it was far back enough, maybe the quality was decent and maybe better than what they're doing now. But, I wouldn't think that print on demand, those books are not made to last. So, yeah, interesting.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So,
No,
yeah.
the way he described them, they were just softback,
Yeah.
very simple glue bind
Right.
books, you know.
But they're a collector's item now because, there's and probably, it's going to be a feature film or it's a streaming series or something?
Oh,
I think
maybe,
I think
probably.
it's getting some sort of attention. So now there's going to be a big Netflix sticker or Amazon sticker on on the book. So you definitely would like the original. And that's funny because usually with publishing there's a first edition printing first edition, and that would be a print on demand self published in this case. That's very funny.
If I was Goodman Games, I'd be really pissed off because all the fans, they call it DCC, and that's like their thing, you know.
You like DCC too? Yeah, me too. I just paid
Yeah.
$1,600 for a set of books. Yeah, the funny thing about print on demand is it would be very easy to fake that. There's no like authentication. There's no if you could get a hold of if you bought a PDF or found a PDF floating around on the internet of that original print on demand book, you could print it on demand. So yeah, there's not a way to kind of legitimately no. That's great though that somebody was that excited about that. People are crazy. But let's talk about something that's not crazy. Well, this is a little crazy. There's some fanaticism, there's some energy behind something that I'm really surprised by. So Warmachine, we talked about Steamforged Games picking them up, and initially that didn't excite me. I just thought, oh, it sounds kind of like a defeat, like Privateer Press is giving up, saying we can't really do this. And probably the timing is good for Privateer Press because this would have put them under if they would have continued to try to produce plastics in China, miniatures on sprues in China at this time, while they were having trouble financially. But Steamforged Games is moving ahead really hard with Warmachine. So I think it's definitely the biggest property that they have that they're managing. They have a lot of board game IP licenses, Dark Souls and Monster Hunter, and they've got a lot of stuff going on. But they obviously have the logistics and the supply chain to do good plastic. And they're going to do an AMA on the wargamer.com Discord. So May 8th. It's a pretty good list. The CEO and co-founder, the creative director and co-founder, the product owner, art director, and product owner are all going to be there. So Rich Loxham and Matt Hart will be present, the two co-founders of Steamforged, to talk about kind of their plans with Warmachine. And they are already seriously backing a competitive scene. They've already announced what they're calling the Welch Masters 2025. This is kind of a pre-qualifier for it's a gauntlet qualifier for Lock and Loaded EU 2026. So you're running 2 100-point lists and 6 intense rounds of play. So that was the thing that I think got Warmachine to prominence versus Warhammer. I don't know if they can repeat that success because Warhammer has gigantic tournaments and they've got their big painting competitions and stuff. So it's going to be hard to rival that. But I think the competitive scene is where you get people drawn into the hobby and you get a lot of, promotion on social media and YouTube and things. So this might be a good move. And if you're fans of Warmachine, it's nice to see it resurrected like this. So if you watch, the timing is going to be 11 a.m. Eastern time, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 4 p.m. BST, I think is British time. I think Steamforged Games is based in England, so 4 p.m. there on May 8th. And they'll be giving away some Shadows and Scum starter sets if you need some Shadows or Scum. That's the Chimera and Southern Creoles, so kind of the troll. Kind of trollkin buccaneer pirates. They're pretty comical, and great sculpts. And the Chimera kind of like a mechanical demonic force. But so I just did a video at the end of April to kind of promote their tribe, which is basically a version of kind of Patreon that Steamforged is doing with with Warmachine. So they're going to be doing something very similar to what Mantic is doing with their digital subscription. This is going to be based at My Mini Factory, but it's going to give you alternate sculpts, new models, a lot of really great thematic terrain, and also parts to customize, like the warjacks, some of the larger models that can be equipped with different weapons. So you can do a lot of magnetizing and swapping out. They're also doing a mini crate, which is a collector's subscription service. This is not through My Mini Factory. This is directly from Steamforged Games. But they're doing a custom character individual sculpt. I think it runs about 14 pounds, 15 pounds. And every month they're going to do a new character that's only going to be produced through this subscription. So they're doing a lot of promotion to support, and their digital subscription on My Mini Factory, the Tribe, will correspond with their physical releases. So whatever the faction is that's getting their new boxes, their new releases, the parts that come out that month and the alternative sculpts will match those. So when you decide your faction and go in, then if you subscribe for that month on My Mini Factory, you get a lot of supported bits and some thematic terrain, some scenic bases, all kinds of good stuff. So I was really happy to see that, and just me talking about the Tribe on My Mini Factory for Warmachine got some attention on YouTube. So I think there's an audience for that. There's an audience that wants to look at stuff other than 40K and something. This is it's more skirmish level. It's a lot more playful in the theming. It's fantasy. It's knights in armor and dragons, but steampunk as well. So it's kind of like a modern sensibility, but the technology has kind of been frozen by magic and warfare. So it's not grimdark at all. It's a lot more playful in its theming. So it's just like fantasy kingdoms, steampunk kingdoms, like firing rockets and machine guns and magic at each other with steam powered war machines. So black powder and steam.
Yeah, I've never played it. I'm looking at the models right now. The sculpts look really nice.
Yeah, they did kind of a refresh of everything. So a lot of the older models were more realistic, like real human scale, and it looks like their newer stuff, they're going for that chunky heroic scale, so more 30 millimeter opposed to 28, and big fists, the fists as big as hands, and kind of real chunky body armor and stuff. So they have a nice look. They look very paintable. They look gorgeous painted. So it's good. It's good to see it back. And the great thing about it is they're not playing that game that Games Workshop does with Warhammer, where they try to fuck you with the rules and make money just you buying endless Chinese hardcover books to play the damn game. There's a Warmachine app for free. All the army building, all the lists, everything is there. They're constantly updating it with releases. Yeah. So basically, you have each of you has a smartphone. You'll build a list on it. You pull out the models and you play, because you basically can track everything, health and damage and points and everything on the app. It's really well done. Mm-hmm. So yeah, full rules. So the only thing you're not getting is basically lore and setting. They released there's a Kickstarter for an Iron Kingdoms kind of 5e compatible tabletop RPG, and that has a huge lore book of itself that kind of brings you current to the kind of state of affairs, the history of the setting, and so there are places, and there's some good lore videos online, and some good websites to catch up on that. So I'm not sure if they're ever going to produce a physical rule book for the game with lore, because they have this like always updated, always live rule set with the the miniature stat lines and everything. So good to see. Mm-hmm. Good to see them doing that. And if you want to stay even more online with everything you're doing tabletop wise, we got some news that Roll20 and Demiplane, their integration, the beta for their integration is live. So Roll20 purchased Demiplane, the rules compendium platform, in June of 2024. And they launched a public beta now for their integration between the two. So what the heck does this mean? So Demiplane launched in 2019. It was very much like D&D Beyond, but not for D&D. So it's like, every other game system, Pathfinder, basically anything you'd want to play, Vampire the Masquerade, Marvel Multiverse, even Alien is on there. There's a few of the Free League licensed RPGs that are on there. So it's, a digital, what are they calling it? A rules compendium platform. You have a character sheet. You do character creation. All the rules are there. You can basically learn how to play the game and everything digitally. Gorgeous interface, like really nice, well done, like D&D Beyond. And that's because co-creator Adam Bradford of D&D Beyond joined the team in 2021. So his expertise that established D&D Beyond when it was owned by Fandom, before it was sold to Wizards, was responsible for its success. That sold. I don't remember if we ever reported this number. This is a crazy number. D&D Beyond sold for $146 million to Wizards. Wow. That's insane for a digital character sheet rules platform. I mean, it was really well done, but come on. They might have had a lot of customer data. They probably paid that money for the customer data. That would be the value, is my guess. So currently, Demiplane supports 14 games, like I said, including Pathfinder 2nd Edition, Vampire the Masquerade, Marvel Multiverse, and Alien. And they're all... at the present, though, cross-platform integration is only live for 6 of the 14 games that they support. So how is this going to work? So Roll20... what they called in the article, the most popular VTT and the oldest, or one of the oldest, doesn't mean the best. It doesn't mean it's usable. Doesn't mean it's not frustrating as hell and ugly as hell. They really need a quality control on their content. Roll20 is really blowing it with how disappointing their content is, their pre-purchase content. But if you purchase something on Roll20 that also exists on Demiplane, you get both. So that's the big integration. So Roll20 has already purchased Dungeon Scrawl to incorporate that into the platform. So now and also Roll20 is the one that's supporting the kind of drag and drop integration with DriveThru RPG. So if you buy something on DriveThru, you can drop it into Roll20. Dungeon Scrawl is in there, and now Demiplane. So from Roll20, when we first set out to connect Demiplane and Roll20, the vision was clear: make it easier than ever for players and GMs to bring their characters to life wherever they play. Today's public beta launch is a big step towards delivering on that vision. So they're calling this connected play. So Demiplane characters are not locked into that platform. You can port them over to Roll20. You just have to link your accounts. So fewer barriers, cross-platform sync, shared subscription benefits. So this has been live since February. And what they're doing is they're trying to, however you play, they're trying to get you to use, this service in some way, whether you're playing in person or online. You can connect and create a Demiplane account and then link it to your Roll20. If you're a subscriber on Roll20, you get a lot of benefit from that. The linked accounts, you can use content that you've unlocked either on Roll20 or Demiplane. So basically you have to buy the rule book in one of those places, but then you have it in both. And so that syncs. You can share content with up to 24 people and unlimited character creation if you're a Roll20 subscriber. And some of the working RPGs right now are the Alien RPG, Candela Obscura, Cyberpunk Red, the Marvel Multiverse game, Pathfinder 2e, and Vampire. So that's what's supported. And also, if you're a subscriber, there are 2,000 data fields available for use in mod scripts and macros. If you have the highest level, I think on Roll20, you can do a lot of scripting and really get things running great if you happen to have that kind of time. But yeah, so that's interesting. That's a interesting news. They keep. So this shows you that WotC really dropped the ball, not taking over the VTT market, because it looks like Roll20 is just going to start absorbing, the tools and everything that people are using And if you buy your stuff on DriveThruRPG, now you've got it in Roll20. If you have used Demiplane ever to build characters, now you've got that in Roll20. They're just going to keep sucking stuff up. But the integration is just not great. I mean, I'm really, really disappointed, even with this new upgrade, this new, I forget what the rocket ship or whatever they're calling it, this new release, which is supposed to be so much better. I mean, I guess it's better than it was in 2012, but that's not much of a, much of a compliment.
Yeah, I've never used Demiplane, nor have I ever used D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
So to me, it just seems. I feel like, I mean, it's cool that they're doing this. I'm sure it'll be good for them. But wouldn't your goal, if you want to be a big VTT played by a lot of different people, wouldn't your goal be to have one platform that does what these two different services do? Like, I don't really understand why we need a Demiplane to fart around in, and then we go play on Roll20.
Right,
like,
right.
Wouldn't your goal be to have it all in one place, all kind of working off of the same system?
You would think.
I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's really what WotC should have been. They should have looked at everybody that's got an interesting take on how to run a VTT, done their little 3D thing, done an amazing D&D Beyond. Well, I guess they had already they integrated. Like Sigil is part of Roll20, or not Roll20, is part of D&D Beyond now. So they were integrating that. So they basically were doing a Roll20 Demiplane thing themselves, and just have it all there. But yeah, I think the I agree with what you're saying. It should be one platform, because this synchronizing subscriptions and synchronizing services is going to have problems. You're going to be dealing with support, to resolve issues, billing issues, and importing issues and things. So yeah, it's not going to be a perfect thing. It's going to be a half measure kind of cobbled together, like, oh yeah, it moves over. Oh, it doesn't see all the fields correctly, so your character name actually will go into that's their background, but we'll fix that eventually. It's going to be a little dodgy, probably for a while. That's why they're doing this extended beta. But yeah, it's a funny thing. And the interesting thing that they talked about during the pandemic especially is the number of people that were playing 5e that never cracked one of the books or even opened a PDF that created a character in D&D Beyond and then played in Roll20 or whatever the or even just Discord with what the Dungeon Master wanted, and that was their interaction with D&D. They basically had a free account on D&D Beyond, made their one character and played, and that was all. And I think that was where the claims of under monetization came from. WotC is they realized that a lot of people were playing their game and not really buying their products. They were very loosely participating. There was a Dungeon Master that was probably invested, but most of the players weren't. Yeah. So Demiplane is kind of that same thing. It's going to keep people, from buying the physical books, owning, and if they're going to meet physically and have their character sheet. I mean, I gotta say though, the one big advantage that's happened with VTTs, if you get people to put their character sheets into a VTT and you're playing in person, nobody shows up without their character sheet. That happens so often in kind of OSR, like meeting in person is like, oh, I don't have a character sheet, because they have a physical piece of paper with everything written on it. When it's digital and anybody can log in and download it, or anybody can log in and look at the stats and update it. That's pretty cool.
I have a simple fix for that. You just keep all the goddamn character sheets.
That's what started to happen. It's like, okay, class, let me collect those papers, your permission slips. Yeah, because you can't rely on... And it was like, yeah, the players that show up, you had that kid in your class, his homework was like folded like 6 times, stuffed in his pocket, and he had a stub of a pencil, and that's how he showed up for class. Like, that's how some players show up. You got dice? Anybody have dice?
So way back in 3rd edition D&D time, there was this time when Will was going to run a 3rd edition game, And that was when it was relatively new, and the player's handbook came with that CD-ROM in it. In fact, well, I don't want to spoil it, but I reference it in that video.
Oh,
But
cool.
that CD-ROM just had like this auto character generator thing on it that people just thought was the most amazing thing in the world because
Right.
back then it was kind of a big deal. Uh, um, we had this one friend who he basically like it would when it printed your when you printed your character sheet, it would say like it would basically have like a version thing on it so you could tell how many times they re-rolled their character.
Oh, wow.
And homeboy re-rolled his character like 100 times to get just the ridiculous attributes,
Right.
And there's
Nice.
something to be said for just rolling some dice with other people around.
Yeah, that's true. Got to get that 18 strength. Wow. Yeah, so it's interesting. We'll see how this develops. Roll20 is obviously pressing their advantage, taking the lead. Although I would say, like, for my money, I think Foundry, connectivity issues aside, Foundry is definitely the best tabletop out there right now, if you can deal with the running your own server. But for affordability, no subscription and everything, it's amazing. But we'll talk about that later.
I actually have that made me
Oh,
me
sure.
think of a question. So with this Demiplane, is it this? If you have players who need to use it, are they able to get on through the game master or whoever paid for a subscription kind of thing? Like, how are they handling that?
Yeah, Demiplane is its own account, and you have. I don't think it has a subscription. I think you just register a free account and then you buy content. And then you can share content with people. And now, if you link it to Roll20, then the DM can share, or the game master can share the source books with you. So you'll have it unlocked on both platforms. So yeah, it's basically just a digital rule book and character builder, but really gorgeously presented. Like it's a lot of fun just to look through it, and because I was doing that, but it is made for campaign play. So that's the thing that's odd about them having the Alien RPG on there is there's no cinematic adventures. It's just like, here's your ship. Here's your ship sheet. Here's your character sheets, and you'll be tracking all of this. And so it is a nice way. It's gorgeously designed. Works well, very functional, and like is really like immersive as far as whatever game you're playing. But it is just a digital character sheet, so you can log on to it on your phone. It has a nice mobile presentation. It's a nice desktop presentation, so you could play with that as your character sheet at the table. Either on a tablet or a phone. And I think that's kind of how people had been using it, because when we first talked about Demiplane, it was like, yeah, what. It's a character sheet, because before they really went all in the D&D Beyond thing, it was just digital rules. So this is a bigger integration. I guess once the D&D Beyond creator came aboard, he said, yeah, we're just going to make this into D&D Beyond and then let any company kind of integrate it and have that same functionality. Because if you're coming from 5e and D&D Beyond, it makes it so much easier. You already get it. You already get how to do it, because it's going to be a very similar interface. So we'll see. So are you exhausted and tired of apps yet for tabletop? I got one more for you. So this was a big announcement that happened just recently. Ronnie got on YouTube, and they announced the Halo Flashpoint app. So already Mantic has a really nice companion that integrates all of their rule sets, all of the stat lines, every game that they have that's not a board game, like every miniatures game. If you subscribe for like $3 or $2, I think, you get all the rules to the games. And so you can basically play any of their games, current rules, and build lists, store lists, and everything with their companion. they will soon be adding to that this Halo Flashpoint game, which has been a huge success for them. They keep talking about how they're shipping so many of these kits. They are really shocked how overwhelming the demand is for this. And I think it's just because people have a lot of nostalgia for Halo and Bungie, remembering their old Xbox. And Bungie sucks now. I think they're owned by Microsoft. And so that nostalgia, maybe this miniatures game brings back a lot of the fun that they had, once upon a time. So Mantic has just launched a Halo Flashpoint, and so these apps go even beyond just list building, current rule set, list building, and stat lines for the units. You can also run events, and it's a pretty impressive thing. So right now if you just pick up one of their boxed starter sets, you're already like ready to play with Halo. But they're going to start releasing, or they already have, but they're going to be now consistently updating it with different little factions and different smaller boxes. So list building is going to become more important. You can try that out all for free right now while they are kind of in beta with this app for Halo, and then I think eventually it's going to get integrated into their companion. So it's all free right now, and will eventually be part of their services. So from Mantic, considering recent tariff developments and the high demand of rules and gameplay content, we've accelerated our plans for digital support. Here at Mantic HQ, in the background of releasing new content and products, our digital team has been eagerly building new tools and resources to make gaming all the better. We've been eagerly waiting to show this blog off to you, and now it's time to blow the lid off this latest creation. So the Halo Flashpoint app. So it's always up to date, the full rule set, including all FAQs and errata, a list builder, free to all users. So select your faction, choose the units, and you can use this app to submit your lists to tournaments. So if there's tournaments in your area, just through the app, you can submit lists. You don't have to deal with email or any other interaction. You can also run official events with 9 or more players on this app. And the subscriber tier, which I think is coming, will give you the ability to build unlimited lists, and we'll have but there will always be a free version of the list building. The organized play free tier will let you find events, run tournaments with 8 players or less. Subscribers will let you do ranked events without limits. And so they have ranking boards. So if you do an official tournament, you can report the winners. They get they get awarded points and they get ranked on a board. So more from Mantic. The advantage of running larger events is when you get 9 or more players, your event becomes ranked, and all registered players receive ranking points on our global and national player tables, which will grant them special rankings on their service records and the chance to win exclusive prizes at the end of the season. So they're going to use these points to kind of award their best players things from their ranges. So they have there's also the rules and more. So in addition to all of the features, they've now added PDF releases of the main rules and wargame expansions. So if you wanted to keep the rules handy as a PDF, you have the option to do that through the app as well as the web store. So yeah, for the next 3 months, this is going to be in beta, and you can mess around with it as much as you want. Once it's out of beta, it'll be included in the compendium, or the companion, which will be $1.17 a month if you probably pay annually. If you pay per month, it's $2.99 a month, and it gives you literally everything that Mantic does. So it's pretty impressive. If you pay another $3 a month, you get everything digitally that they're releasing. So Mantic is giving a lot away under a really modest subscription, compared to other platforms. So Mantic is going all digital, and I think that's they kind of hinted that that's their countermeasure to make sure that you don't have to wait for rule books to get out of customs or get their tariffs paid. You just have access to all of that. So what do you think, Matt? You liking the free rules?
I am. I think. I'm not a Halo person, to be honest, but Mantic is. They're being very proactive on a lot of fronts, it seems like, and just thinking about the tariffs, I'm wondering if, because they led with the whole STL thing, it
Mm-hmm.
seems like,
Mm-hmm.
and STLs might be a there might be a booming industry there now because of the tariffs, and
Mm-hmm. It's true.
but I can't. I'm trying to think because it's like, well, the 3D printers are made in China, I'm sure.
Yes. So if the printers don't break down, you'll be fine.
I'm sure the little spools of resin or whatever
Right.
it's called are
Yeah.
made in China. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like I think it's gonna like boom at first and then hit like some kind of natural ceiling
Right.
as the price of 3D printers goes up and up because of the tariffs,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. But they're poised to get the most out of that,
Mm-hmm.
like light years ahead of GW.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, good on them. Like they're very proactive. This app stuff is awesome. Again, I'm not a Halo person, but it's cool that they're thinking about that stuff. So if I ever do play a Mantic game, I will know that it's supported,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So so yeah, no, I think it's all positive.
Good. Good. Yeah, yeah, I was really pleased. I've been a subscriber to the Mantic, their little early bird bundle that they had for their rules and their digital stuff since the beginning. So I'm coming up on 1 year. I think I've already just passed that 1 year, and they have a 12-month. So that's the nice thing that both My Mini Factory does with their tribes, and Patreons do that sometimes, but Mantic is doing that as well. They have loyalty rewards. So like every 3 months, every 6 months, every 9 months, and then 12, they give you, if you've been a member subscriber that all that time, they give you additional content, and it's only going to be available if you were funding that the whole time. So yeah, and it's the way they price things is so perfect. It just you just don't. It's not doesn't make any sense to cancel it. It's just not that much money, and you get so much, and you have got a huge, digital library of Mantic's Armada game, all the ships for the Mantic's Armada game, all kinds of modifications, different customizations, bases and terrain and everything for all of their games. So it's a really nice idea, and I think they did well, like kind of filling a gap that probably Games Workshop is never going to address, because they're all in on building new warehouses and shipping facilities, and getting those partnerships with China all nice and strong. All right, one more one more virtual tabletop story for you, but this is a good one. This is I think this is someone who's quickly becoming a personal hero of mine. So the founder of Foundry, creator of Foundry VTT, so you don't have that alliteration. The creator of Foundry has some words about Hasbro. They don't like what Hasbro is kind of doing in terms of the ideas of AI and tabletop role-playing games, and he called it a betrayal. So a betrayal of the creative people who made the tabletop role-playing industry what it is. And that's very true, because it's a very DIY industry, and then just to have these garbage tools that are taking away from the artists, from basically diminishing the value of a lot of this stuff. So generative AI, I like how this article started out. Generative AI has gotten its deep learning tentacles into many parts of gaming life. So WotC and D&D have been caught using accidentally using AI art in their source books and their marketing and all that good stuff. And the CEO of Hasbro, of course, has been on the record as really liking AI, but assuring you that they don't use it. But it's really cool, and he personally uses it. But yeah, D&D is really gonna be careful about that. So there was an interview. I think this was PC Gamer, an interview with Andrew Clayton, the creator of the virtual tabletop Foundry, and so he's conflicted with this. He's got a very strong opinion about AI, but they have to do business, with WotC. They have, they have recently announced a partnership. So Clayton says, my personal stance is on this is that AI-generated content remains for the foreseeable future an exploitative technology that unfairly harvests the intellectual properties of artists, writers, and designers to produce soulless and derivative works without their consent. So until legal and ethical challenges of generative AI are more adequately addressed, I don't foresee this happening. I don't think generative AI can responsibly be employed in our industry without it being a betrayal of the creative people who made the tabletop industry what it is in the first place. So very well said. Yes, and unfortunately, Chris Cox has been was quoted as saying significantly and liberally using AI in his own games, his own campaigns with his 30 to 40 fellow D&D gamers, because this is a guy that DMs every day of his life. Chris Cox, that guy, because he sits on his mega yacht running D&D campaigns, whatever.
No, he doesn't. I'm sure ChatGPT scripted that for him.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. So, so also talking about, this is a Cox quote, I believe. There's not a single person who doesn't use AI somehow for either campaign development or campaign character development or story ideas. That's a clear signal that we needed to be embracing it. I think he's referring to the people that he runs games with. So they all use AI because they're a bunch of tech nerds, and he brought them over from Microsoft probably. So of course they use AI because they have no creative bones in their bodies. But Clayton goes on to say, so he concedes that generative AI content can have a role to play in private home games where generative text or images to quickly supplement storytelling or improvisational aids or accessibility tools. So it's important for users to understand it is actively disenfranchising human creators. So it's to be used as a tool, not a replacement. I mean, you should spend some time writing your backstory, not saying, I'm an elf with a dead family, enter, and see what ChatGPT says about that. I was really impressed. So unfortunately, this is the conflict though, because in February, Foundry VTT has officially partnered with D&D, for content on their VTT. So they have a platform, a digital platform. They're competing with Roll20. Roll20, has D&D content, so Foundry needs that as well. So they're going to have to deal with, if the content that's coming out from Wizards of the Coast is AI generated, they're incorporating that into their platform. It's not a great situation to be in, but it's good that he's taking this stance and so eloquently said, what we're all thinking is that this should not be something you're trying to sell to us. And so it's possible that it's inescapable. So he was asked by PC Gamer, so do you think Foundry will have AI in the future once the technology is better legislated? Clayton's response was, nope. nope. So they have no plans to figure out how to integrate this. And I thought it was this article, but I think it was something else where I saw that there was somebody quoting that companies that think they've got some sort of advantage by jumping on this generative AI early, and that it's going to give them an advantage in the marketplace, are actually fooling themselves. They're actually going to be surrendering talent and assets. They're not going to be hiring the people that are going to be doing good things for their company, producing strategies that are successful. They're just going to be leaning on these really feeble, really simplistic tools that, in terms of what they eventually, will be someday. And thinking this is somehow the future. So it's actually going to be a disadvantage companies that lean too heavily on this, because they're going to sacrifice the actual human assets of their companies in favor of this. Yeah,
we're already seeing that. And they're going to get caught in this subscription cycle with AI providers. Mm-hmm. The same way corporations are trying to get all of us regular people stuck in subscription cycles for everything,
Yes.
And eventually there won't really be any more talent. You know what I mean?
Right.
Bad news.
I think that the most depressing thing I saw, and I don't know if this is OpenAI, but one of the AI companies released a statement, and they said, please, and they said please stop using please and thank you in your AI prompts, because that costs us an additional $150 million a year in processing power just for the AI to deal with those words. So you need to be as rude and direct and as autistic as possible when you talk to AI, and not treat them like a person and not be nice to them, because that costs money. Isn't that depressing?
Oh, okay. So use as much flowery language as I possibly can. Check.
Yes, your purple prose must go into every prompt and burn these things out. Yeah.
Dearest Chat GPT, old chap, please do me the great courtesy of generating blah blah blah. Yeah,
Right. Yes.
I would totally do that.
Data centers are going to be bursting into flame after Matt tries to ask to simply answer a simple question. Yeah, so that's where we are with that. So good to see. My frustration, unfortunately, we have very paranoid, very conservative ISPs in Japan, so I'm having a little trouble running Foundry. But there is Foundry hosting. There is good hosting companies that will run your Foundry servers and make it accessible, to everyone. So that's going to have to be a solution that we move to. So I have my little discount, my little cheap trial for Roll20. But as soon as that's done, I think we're back on Foundry, because their quality control and their content is so much better. Like if you buy a module from them that's produced by one of the studios, it's an officially licensed module. It's guaranteed to be beautiful, work well, have everything integrated. You're just clicking on things on a character sheet to perform roles and things. Whereas Roll20 is not that. I'm seeing a lot of strange, royalty-free photos showing up, and they just don't. They don't maybe control. They don't quality control the way they should. And also, Foundry has so much unofficial, because it's open source, so much unofficial support for every game system. Mm-hmm. Anything you can think of, no matter how obscure, someone has probably at least built the character sheets in Foundry, and the world, the mechanics for the game rules, and the character sheet in Foundry. It's impressive.
Yeah, Foundry is interesting because I'm glad that you're the one running Foundry.
Yes.
Because, it just feels so much like you have to be more knowledgeable of how that system works to get what you want out of it. I mean, it's clear it works. We played and had a lot of fun on it. But I'm glad you're running it. Like, I know Alchemy doesn't quite have the same bells and whistles, but it does have just, for my brain, just so much more. Just I can put a thing in there and here we go, and they're getting there. I feel like they're working towards a lot more customization, but that's why I'm one of the bad ones. I'm talking to you on a Mac, and I'm got my iPhone sitting next to me because I don't want to think about how this shit works.
It just works. Like, Tim Cook told you that.
That's why I drive an automatic. I don't drive a stick, because technology is supposed to make your life easier.
Right. I see what you're doing. Yeah. It's interesting because there is a lot of that, like with the whole scripting thing, the whole, like on the top tier subscription for Roll20, you have access to all these scripts and mods and kind of widgets and stuff that you can actually customize. So you can kind of really customize this play experience to exactly what you want, but you're basically doing like low-level software development for them. And I think with Roll20, I think you can share it, like on GitHub or whatever. If you write some scripts or make a library of functionality, you can share it, but there's no marketplace for it. Like you can't sell it. Like Foundry doesn't have a way to kind of integrate things the way, not Foundry, Roll20 doesn't have a way to integrate and sell things the way Foundry does. Like any little thing, any little, kind of ease of use or anything that makes your life simpler running Foundry, and somebody wrote a little thing for it, it can be downloadable, installable as a module, and they can also sell it if they want. So I think that's a great way to do things. But it does, there is a time involvement. Like already running a game involves a lot of preparation and time, and then putting the technology and opening ports, port forwarding and things are not something that DMs and GMs should have to deal with. So I know what you're saying, Matt, but for those people that are inclined that way or enjoy that kind of tinkering and surprising their players with like, look, you just click here and it rolls all the dice, if they like that kind of thing, it definitely has an amazing amount of flexibility, and that you can share, that's easily shared with the entire community. Roll20 doesn't do that because they're trying to figure out how to make a buck off of really low quality content.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for this week. So thank you so much, Matt, for filling in. And I will be back online with Matt shortly in about 24 hours to continue our Fallout RPG. So tune into our actual play. So subscribe to the channel to get notified when we go live. And we'll go live on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook if you're there somewhere. And we will be doing our live stream of that. So I think we're going to have all the players, and we may have a big fun climactic something, or a lot of negotiation. If you're going to Yojimbo your way through this and play both sides, we'll see.
I don't think so. What's got me laughing about this Fallout game is Will's not usually the one to go full murder hobo. And he has like embraced the dark side in this Fallout game.
Yes.
And it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think just firing an energy weapon and realizing, wow, this is really powerful. I think I can do this. Harnessing the power of the sun. Yes, so tune into that. And so Matt, where can people find you?
I'm on Blue Sky and Instagram. It's at Hargald, HAARGALD.
Cool.
Where I'm sharing game posts and stuff, and I am talking some politics. So if you don't want to see any of that, don't go on there. But I do talk about game stuff and share all our live streams and my thoughts on the games we've played and stuff like that, and it can be fun. How about you?
So I am due to do another monthly cartoon live stream. So I draw a cartoon, a single panel gag cartoon, and doing that live on both YouTube and Twitch. If you want to read that cartoon, I've got about 20 years of it in the archive on GoComics. So gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And then sometime next week or maybe the week after, I'll get to the monthly live stream, and you'll get a notification both on this channel and the Abuse Cartoons. So Abuse Cartoons on YouTube and Twitch and all social media if you want to see what's going on there. If you like what we're doing here on the weekly, consider becoming a weekling. You can do that at patreon.com/upturntable, and that'll be the kind of the tier that'll let us know what you want to see more of on our kind of weekly roundup. If you're tired of tariff talk, or you want some more wargaming or less D&D or whatever you may be interested in. And there's also some other levels to let us know what you're following on the channel as far as the actual play content, the lore videos, just reviews, unboxings, all that kind of stuff. And just take a look at that. You can also do the same thing by becoming a member on YouTube. There's a join button below this video or on our YouTube channel page to get the same benefits. The only thing that you're getting on Patreon that's different is the RSS feed of the audio from all of our live streams. And I think I'm going to put our VSN postmortem audio. We had a nice recording of that. So I think I'll put that as an audio file as well. So about 90 minutes of our discussion of our VSN campaign will go on the Patreon feed as well. So that's the biggest difference. YouTube hasn't quite worked that out yet, how they want to handle RSS feeds and for their members. So that'll do it for this week. We'll be back again next week. Thank you so much, Matt, for helping me out with this week's episode, and see you again soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
right. Matt is totally obscured by the chat. Let's see if we can fix that. No. Yeah, we'll try to stick it between us again. There we go. Hey. All right. Well, good. Yeah, so, we've been really doing some live streaming. I appreciate you guys being available for that. That was a really fun. Our look back at that. That was our second campaign ever. Blade Runner was the first, and that was the second because we weren't even live streaming at that point. That was just like audio recording.
So it was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, by the Night Sow, I think the last few games, that's when we started streaming the Foundry VTT screen and our voices. But yeah, I had to put together all that audio from just local recordings.
Yeah, I remember when we would all record our own tracks and send them to you.
Right. Yeah, it was back from those days. Yeah. So,
when was the John Carter of Mars stuff done?
Yeah, I think that was after. And we were live streaming that, but of course the live stream, we couldn't mix. It was before we were using Craig to record. Once we figured out, Craig does the discrete tracks for each of the audio channels. That helped a lot because, when it was just a live stream, that it just puts all of our audio together and it's not that usable. But John Carter was after that. I have dates. I should go back in my notes and kind of put our whole history, our whole schedule together of what we did, because we met pretty consistently weekly for a while, through a lot of campaigns. That's very rare, I think, for a lot of groups, and never kind of just like drifted off, just drifted away from a game. We just kind of came to a stopping place and say, okay, let's do something else. Yeah,
just. In my head, John Carter was, if not the first thing we did, very close to the first thing.
Oh wow! It was definitely early. Well, it was the first stuff where I was not using like pre-written stuff. I was just kind of piecemeal, kind of like with Dune. I was just like taking inspiration from stuff that was done and using the art assets, but just kind of doing all original. Adventure, yeah. But for both, I was using published stuff for Blade Runner and Vaesen very much. Yeah, you guys always kept me on my toes with those characters. Yeah, nice. But we've got a lot, and thanks for doing that. You did. You did that on the Discord, right? The Games We've Played channel. That's awesome.
Yeah, I need to get back to it. I stopped to start doing this other stuff. But there's still more I need to put on there.
Cool. Nice. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Our Christmas deathmatch.
Yeah. See, Calarion agrees with me too.
Oh yeah.
That we did John Carter first, but we uploaded it much later.
Oh really? Okay, it's possible. Wow, did I really talk you into that? I must have got those long books off of my shelf and said, I got to get some use out of these. Yeah, because I once they kind of
wasn't that Astral or whatever?
Oh yeah, that's right, Astral Day. Yeah, that's right. Yes, I think you are right. Let's see if I did digital notes for John Carter. I think I did. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll see. I wish the way they stored stuff was better. Like the Google Docs is not real great. Okay. No date. I didn't put dates in for the sessions. Oh wait. Actual play session originally recorded 9/24/2022. That's before. That might be before Vaesen.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that was.
That's crazy. Yes, but we were just doing all local audio and Astral. That's right. Yeah, Astral was so nice for just throwing stuff in there. Yeah, just you could drag and drop, backgrounds and tokens just from your desktop. That was so nice to like quickly improvise stuff. Everything else is an import process, and it gets copied into a directory, and sometimes people can't see it, and yeah, that's a shame. Astral had to leave us. Wow. Yeah. So wow. So yeah. So John Carter history. So Modifius, once they determined that didn't go well, and then they released a book, maybe just a PDF that was a reorientation of that book. They went from the horizontal, the landscape mode to vertical, the portrait mode for the presentation of the book. They did that, kind of admitting defeat in the design of that book. But on their store, they had everything for John Carter. I backed the Kickstarter, but just the 2 volumes in the kind of the case, and but everything was available like $4 to $7 a piece, like all of the hardcover books. So there was one of those like Christmases or whatever. I'm just like, okay, let's do all the John Carter, because we did a live play session. I don't think we recorded it, but we did a live play session of the Quick Start during that campaign in person here in Japan. And it got cut really short. We got a late start, and then it got cut short because everybody had to catch a train. So we basically only had like 2 hours to play and just introduce the characters and stuff. But it went well. Like it had a real fun feeling to it. And so I always wanted to get back to it. And unfortunately, you were my victims.
Oh, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Okay.
And thinking of like last night on the stream, we were talking about people's comfort levels with doing voices and stuff like that. And Will kind of said he didn't really do voices, but he did on that one.
Yes.
Like he was doing a voice for his Green Martian.
Right. Yeah.
And because I picked a Prussian, that's like such an easy stereotype voice to do.
Right. Yeah, and there's that was such a fun deep dive too, because there's so many of those books. There's like 6 or 8 of those John Carter books, and he delves into so much stuff, and stuff that's just touched on, like the skeleton men of Venus and all of this like crazy stuff that's suggested. So and even just on Barsoom, just on Mars, there's a lot of stuff to uncover, like a lot of hidden things underground and a lot of forces at work trying to control the planet. So it's kind of endless just digging into that John Carter story and setting, because I didn't know how long we were going to go, and I was getting really excited once we did our big campaign where you guys had to visit the different kingdoms and kind of convince people before they were copied, or before they were like taken over. I was getting excited about where do we go next, because there's a lot of like really crazy stuff, and we touched on some of that stuff too. Like you guys were in areas and like kind of brushed against like really messed up crazy stuff that would have been fun in future sessions. Yeah. But yeah, and they did a pretty good job. That was the first time they got really abstract with the 2D20 system, where you're like doing daring and athletics or whatever, where it was very abstract, like, and heroic, everything that you were doing, and also how they said this is a major character, he will actually has hit points, and these are just like minions. These are just League of Legends kind of little mooks that you can just wail away, but they're an obstacle. Yeah, good stuff.
No, that was fun, and that was what we cut our teeth on with the 2D20 system.
Yeah.
I think there was a little bit of a learning curve, but now I think it's easy peasy now.
Yeah, and I think because when I put together that player reference for the very first Quick Start session that I ran, I had this like weird misconception that there were kind of locked in combinations of things. Like if you're firing a gun, it's this. If you're jumping, across a canyon, it's this. And actually, all of the 2D20 is much more flexible as long as you can, narratively justify it. It's much more flexible in in what you can use for your rolls to get that target number. And as soon as I was like, oh yeah, I've been forcing something that could have been could have been much more fun. Could have gotten crazier as far as like the successes and the things you were able to do.
Well, I mean, it's good to have a foundation, especially if it's a system that people are new to, and then once they get comfortable, they can be more creative with their combinations of those attributes and skills. It's the same thing with outguns. Like, there's a suggested combination for shooting at someone or whatever, but really, if you're narrating some cool thing you're doing, you could try to just combine other things, But
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea to have that foundation for new people, though.
Yeah, no, that's true. That just so what do I roll? Yeah, so like a player like Terry, I think that would be a lot to have hit Terry right away with. It can be anything. Tell me, are you using your intellect, or are you using your understanding of the history of this race? Yeah, yeah. It's that would be too much. Like just tell me what to roll. It'd be a big ask. Right, cool after, because Terry said that he hadn't played. It would have been like decades, right, since it was with like
long ass time.
Right.
Yeah, I think before we got him on the channel, the last time I played with him was like second edition D&D in like probably 1990.
Oh wow, yeah.
So yeah, a long ass time ago.
Right. Nice. So it's good to see everybody in the chat. Carolina and Arturo. Yeah. So Arturo. Yeah, we should get on the Discord, Arturo. So yeah, if Matt, did you mention it in the chat?
I put your email on
good.
there. Yeah. So email Jeremy. He promises he'll check it.
Yep. Yeah, I will. Yeah, and I'll send you the invite link. We just don't want to make it public right now, just because it's going to be so much moderation. And yeah, we use the Discord mostly for the audio for the actual play. So if it had all kinds of craziness going on that we had to attend to, it might be a distraction. But good to see everybody in the chat.
Yeah, we'll need some of those spicy bad Arturo jokes.
Nice. And Hodag, yeah, sorry Chris isn't here this week, but good to see you. Hodag and Miguel, nice.
Have you looked at Hodag's art?
Oh yeah. Hodag did the cover art for Brighthammer. That was the iconic character on the cover of Brighthammer.
Games.
Yes.
No, now I gotta look that up. Oh, good job. That's cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, I like his style. It's like old school, but still like it has a really nice look. But can
I
work
was
well.
telling him. Mm-hmm. I was telling him on what is it, Blue Sky, that some of what he does, I think he varies his style for situations, but some of it just straight up looks like that old line art that Liz Danforth would do for like Tunnels and Trolls and stuff. And I was like, oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, and I thought he would have definitely been a perfect fit for Shadow Dark, but he mentioned in the chat that contacted them but didn't hear back. But I think his work would have been perfect for the Shadow Dark books. But I'm sure they're going to do more. I'm sure they're not going to stop with just one expansion. Nice. Yeah, good stuff.
Arturo said the one time I ran a 2D20 adventure was for the Dune beta test. I don't think I did a good job explaining the rule set. Some of my players struggle with the metallic mechanic. There's a learning curve to it. It took us a minute in John Carter, and then I felt kind of bad for Terry in Star Trek because it's so much different than the stuff he had experienced.
Yes.
But he figured it out down the line.
Yeah, and Dune, I don't think they did a good job because they changed from that quick start. Because Arturo, I ran that quick start too for the Idle Red Hands guys, and it was different. It was different by the time it got into the book. So, because they gave you a, I think it was like a, I don't know if it was play test, but they gave you early days kind of a Word doc of that quick start adventure, that Planetfall quick start adventure, where you're the advanced team for the Atreides family, and you have to deal with all the shenanigans going on. Oh yeah, I pulled that into our Dune campaign. So when you guys were sorting out, finding the spy. So all of those characters that were like servants in House Abacoster, those were actually originally the ones on Arrakis that were plotting against the Atreides family. And so that's why there was so much, like, they were sleeping with each other, there were love triangles and all kinds of crazy. There were a lot of Fremen in that, so I had to like just make them locals and not make them Fremen. But yeah, but no, those rules changed, and I think it was especially hard to run that. So I wouldn't feel bad about not being able to convey that. I don't think it was easy to get that across. The combat was weird. Like, they really got their asses handed to them in a couple of the combats with just the one against the one spy. So yeah, things were not very clear how to run that. But yeah. So I think Conan was first. I think Conan was before, like, Mutant Chronicles was very early days. John Carter was after, because I remember after Conan and after, I think even after, because they did it in Infinity. There's a 2D20 Infinity game based on the miniature war game setting, and there's something else, but I think Mutant Chronicles was one of, I think that might be the first or one of the earliest 2D20. That and Conan were very like 2015 kind of stuff. Yeah.
So Conan was the first 2D20 game?
I think so.
That checks out, because it didn't jibe the way these other ones do.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of bummed, because looking at that new one that's going to get released, I'm just like, I think it's like the movies, right? People don't seem to know how to do Conan. I mean,
yeah,
it should probably be a custom Year Zero Free League game that's designed, from the ground up to give you that Conan feel.
Right,
you know?
right. No, that would be good. Nice. Oh, yeah, there was a comment that we got a little while back. I think somebody was watching our Forbidden Lands stuff on the channel, and they said, do you think Forbidden Lands is due for a revision or a rules update? Do you think that's going to happen? Because they still have parts of the setting to kind of unlock, right? The continent, like over the seas, hasn't been explored.
What's his name? The main designer on Forbidden Lands. I can't remember his name right now. Swedish guy. Really cool guy. I've watched a lot of his interviews. But actually, friend of the channel, Nathan at AARPG's channel, did an interview with him. Makes it even worse that I can't remember his name now. But he's working on their Alderland expansion.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah.
Which is the nation state south of the Forbidden Lands that originally invaded the Forbidden Lands, a long, long time ago, and kind of started the ruckus that turned into all the problems in the Forbidden Lands. And but that nation still exists and is doing its own thing south of the so-called impenetrable mountains. So it would almost be like a totally different game world. It wouldn't be connected directly to the Forbidden Lands. Which I guess all of them, like the one to the west, the Bloodlands or whatever it's called, is sort of that way too, because you have to go through like a weird gate to get there.
Yeah.
And the icy one to the north, you got to go through this crazy underground tunnel to get to that one. But yeah, it's cool. So they are working on it. So I doubt they'll do a system refresh anytime soon, because if they're already invested in these campaign books,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if they did it, it'd have to be minor and backwards compatible. Yeah, because they've got a lot already produced for it. Yeah. Yeah, I was curious about what you thought, and I think they're less likely, like we were saying before, they're less likely to do that with their own IPs unless there's a real need for it, because the licensed stuff, the licensed IPs, are the ones that have to remain active for them to justify the license. So yeah, I think that's definitely different.
Oh man,
Oh,
we
what?
just got blamed. Arturo said, "You guys are the reason I invested in Forbidden Lands and my discovery of Free League." That's awesome.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's great. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, we had a nice that Forbidden Lands review was like our biggest video for a long time, because that was the first time we just sat down and did like a 90-minute, like 2 hour like talk through the whole system and discussion, and there were three people, so it was a very varied enough opinions. People were like, I don't like the supply dice, I don't like this, or and so there was a bunch of just like going through every aspect of the system and everything.
And and fun fact,
Mm-hmm.
that Forbidden Lands review video you guys did is how I found the channel.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
because at the time, I don't know. Do you remember what year that was? But it was pandemic-y-ish
Yes,
time,
right,
right?
right.
So I had a little, what did we call it back then? In the days of the quarantine, and we had a pod, right? We
Yes.
had a pod of trusted individuals that gathered to play games, and
Pod. That's right.
yeah, yeah. Don't tell the cops. And we ran a really long Forbidden Lands campaign during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so I was just scouring for information about Forbidden Lands. And that's how I found what at the time was Idle Red Hands,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know? And then I watched some of your videos for a while. And then I don't know if you weren't doing live content at the time, or I just wasn't hip enough to catch which ones were the live ones. But it was later on, after you had reinvented, as Upturned Table,
Mm-hmm.
that I came and saw that the weekly showed up in my algorithm.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Did you freeze? Uh-oh, wait. We may have having connectivity. There's a frozen Matt. No. Damn, right in the middle of a great story, too. Are you there, Matt? What happened? Sorry, everybody. That was 6 years ago. Yeah, they're not giving me a date, a release date. Oh, January 18th, 2019 was the long. Yeah, so that was I guess the early of the year of the origin of the pandemic. Matt, what happened? Let's see if he's still in the call. Sorry, this lovely technology is failing us. Yeah.
You can't hear me?
Oh, there we go. You're back. You're back. Yeah, you're.
I I I was animated on the Discord the whole time. You
Yeah.
couldn't
Oh,
hear me?
wow. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was. Frozen. So maybe it's something here. Maybe it was a video thing here. Sorry.
It's
So
this TV you got me locked in.
it's kind of old. I hit it a few times. Get
Yeah.
it to work. But yeah. The
Anywho, that's how I found the weekly later on,
yes.
because I had become a channel follower, and
Nice.
so you changed the name. The weekly came up in the algorithm,
Hmm.
whatchamacallit, and I just started chatting with people like all these good people are chatting with us right now.
Nice.
All Forbidden Lands, it all ties together.
Nice. Yeah, that review came out January 18th, 2019. So yeah, kind of just before the pandemic hit. So yeah, but that you probably found it because yeah, that was I think our video that was getting the most traffic. It was getting it was getting promoted because it was so active. And yeah, and I think that was part of the thing that I think also helped to break down Idle Red Hands is I was trying to introduce new games by the smaller publishers and kind of change what we were playing kind of regularly, and I think
Mm.
everybody just wanted to play the same game for a year. That was kind of like they wanted the kind of like I just want the safety and security. So we couldn't really agree on what that game would be, and so that started the. I'm tired of learning new systems. I did this wanted this like reliable thing to come to for the actual plays. But,
segue from that. I shared with our Discord channel, so if you're not there, you're missing it. And I shared it with you guys on our messenger group. The new Seth Korkowski video where he reviews Blade Runner.
Oh yes.
And what made me think of this is what you just said about the group wanting to play a long game. So he loves Blade Runner. It was a very favorable, positive review, except his critique was he did the shift system.
Yes.
He and his group felt it was kind of board game like, and according to him, once they realized that, they started just trying to address things like it's a board game that you have to win or something. And I didn't get that feel from it at all.
No.
It just felt like a cool ticking clock thing.
Yeah.
And then his other issue was that if you don't want to play, Blade Runners who are dealing with moral quandaries as they hunt down synths, the game doesn't really cater to any other way to play. And like if you wanted to play a longer game. And I didn't agree with that either because, I understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
But that's not what this game is for, in my opinion.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
It's about this cinematic experience that creates the same feel that you get if you like Blade Runner. And it does that really well. And I think 10 years ago, I probably would have agreed with him. But I've really come around on the idea of playing one shots and mini campaigns,
Yeah.
I see their value and I get enjoyment out of them the way I probably wouldn't have 10, 20 years ago. So it's a good review. He's thoughtful in it because he's a smart guy. But yeah, that part of it, I was just like, well, I think you're kind of square peg, round hole addressing this. You're not seeing what this game is really about or intended for.
Right.
And which is funny because I know he's played the Alien game too.
Yeah, you're right.
And the Alien game is the same thing. It's like you're gonna play this movie and then you're gonna be done. If you play again, it'll be new characters.
Right. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I'm. Yeah, definitely the shift system. When I first looked at that, when I first read through the Blade Runner rules, I was like, it didn't quite click. It wasn't until we played it, and I'm like, okay, yes, this restriction and the ticking clock works so well, and I can see why he's saying it's board gamey, because it's like, okay, when they reach this hour, this happens, but that's all flexible. They say it doesn't. Things can happen whenever. There's only a few things that need to happen. They don't even have to happen when you want. They recommend based on group size, like how long things should take, and I think that's just giving like an economy of like how many shifts would be available and how much ground you can cover, so you're not missing out on a lot of the content. But there is so much flexibility within that. But it's a really good way, and especially when we were doing an actual play and it took multiple sessions, I could go back, okay, the first half of this day we did this and now people are here. And it also allows you to split the party much easier than it would be for other games. I mean, of course, you've got surprise combats and stuff. So if you pick really unwisely, you can be outgunned in kind of big standoffs. But yeah, I didn't feel that it was board gamey. I thought it was like a nice way to structure, instead of having like a yes and no flow chart and things that you can, also develop for adventures. It was a nice way to just, and you guys had a good sense of, okay, do we want to do this now, or do we want to save that for tomorrow, or do we want to push ourselves through the night? That was the mechanic that I liked as well. It's like, no, we're not going to rest. We're going to keep going in a deficit. Like we're going to be running on fumes, but we're going to get this done. Yeah, I think that worked with investigation and police work well. Yeah.
Yeah, and so much of that mechanic with the shifts, right?
Hmm.
That's all, or maybe there's like scripted things you have expect, but those are on the GM side of it. So
Yeah, yeah.
it shouldn't, like, you never made us feel like it was an artificial thing. So
Hmm.
I don't.
Good.
I
Yeah.
think you might just be overthinking it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I can see, like those, worker placement board games. I can see why they would interpret it that way. It's like, okay, we've got these 5 locations. There's 3 of us. We've got these, 6 turns. We got to do this investigation, and so you go to the Foundry, and you go to the bar, and you go to the hotel. It's like, I can see how they gamified it in a really unfun way. It's like they just are completely walking away from any narrative or any complications and just
Yeah.
saying, we need to distribute our workforce, across these
Yeah.
locations to gather the resources of evidence.
Yeah. That's getting too meta. Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
there were, I mean, watch some X Files. Mulder and Scully were always in different locations doing stuff.
Hmm.
It's like,
Hmm.
in fact, they created a lot of drama that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah, that's very funny. Oh, you're one of the 14 dislikes on that Forbidden Lands video, aren't you? You're like, too long, didn't listen, didn't watch. Yeah, that's crazy. An hour 46, almost 40, yeah, hour 47 on that thing. Yeah, we just went off on that Forbidden Lands. uh, yeah, and all that.
Now,
Yeah.
that was a great game to be introduced to Free League with,
Mm-hmm.
because they were replicating an OSR feel, but with a totally kind of original system,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
instead of just being an OD&D clone or a basic clone or whatever.
Right.
Like, um, so it was like a perfect mix, and then it hit for us during the pandemic. So like
Hmm.
that was just all we were thinking about at the time.
Nice. Yeah, that was a yeah. Those were tough days, and yeah, Outer Red Hands did not survive the pandemic. That was our breaking
Oh,
point. And the funny thing is, the weekly. I'm glad you found the weekly because, so I took over. So Chris, the other Chris, was kind of running the technical side of the website and the podcast, and walked away from the podcast because of time and family commitments. It was handed over to me. I was doing the kind of producer role, and didn't know, basically how the website was set up. It was running on WordPress. It was, using a bunch of different plugins and things for them. And the plugin that was distributing the podcast, that was making it available, to iTunes and Spotify, and it kind of aggregating it, whoever was working on that just walked away from that. So that no longer had any support. So the Outer Red Hands podcast just disappeared. It had like 7 years, 5 or 7 years of viewership building up, and it just got deleted from every podcast directory. So like, oh
wow.
shit. Oh shit. So I found a new aggregator, a new way to syndicate the RSS feed, and realized we have to do this weekly to build up viewership again. And so just like, okay, we're doing a weekly. To just be Outer Red Hands weekly, and so we don't have to worry about schedules. And if we want to do longer things like the Forbidden Lands review and stuff, we can get together and do that. But every Friday we're going to do a weekly, so that the aggregation and the podcast RSS starts to actually show up again in the world. But the bad thing is about doing that, I should have just deleted everything and started fresh with the new name at that point, because you don't get the benefit of being the featured new podcast on any of the platforms if you're just using the same RSS feed and just kind of redoubling your efforts. So I didn't get any of that bump from changing to the weekly schedule and everything. It was a whole nightmare. But that's the origin of the weekly, is the death of of the original podcast, and having to do something that would show up and start to get us ranked again on podcast platforms. crazy. But yeah. Split the party. Yeah, right. That's how most Call of Cthulhu. Yeah, Arturo was saying that, how most Call of Cthulhu adventures end up splitting the party and splitting the sanity.
Yeah, that doesn't matter, which was what my point was.
Right. Yeah,
if you play enough Call of Cthulhu, you realize that we sure are split up, stay together. Doesn't matter. We're all going to be dead or insane soon anyway.
Right. Yeah, it depends on if you want to witness or not. Yeah.
Well, that was like what Will was saying on our last night. Was like his character when we used to play Call of Cthulhu. Like, well, one of his characters, because you don't keep them all that long,
right.
but was always managed to be in the wrong place when some crazy mythos thing would show itself. So he got to be blissfully ignorant for several adventures. It was pretty funny.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, so we will get back to it tomorrow with our Fallout, and yeah, we'll have to figure out. Because people are watching. People are watching Fallout, so we'll have to decide if we go back to that someday. But I think there's a lot of interesting, IP stuff that might be fun, and I think that's been a nice thing these first 4 months of the year. We've just played a bunch of different stuff and just had fun, not really like worrying about, oh, this game is coming out or should we do this. There hasn't been time pressure. We've just been playing games that we've always wanted to play and that are enjoyable, and with nice assets. Like, that was so great that they did the bundle for Fallout on Alchemy, because we had a ton of nice assets to use right away for that.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah, and I think I don't know what your take is on it, but I don't know if I want to chase every quick start that comes out. Like, it might be cool. You might nab some extra views, but like, they're not all created equally.
Yeah.
Like I said, I read through that new Conan quick start, and I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And I was like, so.
Yeah, I kind of had the same feel with the Outgunned, their superheroes quick start. I was like, I don't even know how fun this would be. It's okay. It's just like, it too heavily referenced like Marvel stuff, so I think we would just play it as like a off-brand Marvel adventure, and that that doesn't. There's much more fun to be had in a superhero game than doing an MCU movie. I think.
Well, yeah, and I think you said it on one of the other streams, or maybe when we were chatting, but the draw for a lot of us to play a superhero game is getting to create our own original superhero. So playing a pre-made superhero, especially one that's very obviously modeled off of a Marvel superhero, is like,
right.
That's okay. I'm good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you see? Speaking of the Outgunned, though, the superheroes, did you see they made it a flick? So instead of making rules to play villains instead of heroes, they just made like a Joker movie kind of flick for the new volume, like the Flicks 3. So yeah, they'll give you the ability to do that, but they're not going to change the rule set or anything. It's just that probably the character sheet and your motivation, is going to be different. But
Sorry,
so I was
banging stuff around. I forgot to tell you.
Oh yeah.
I forgot to tell you. I got my Outgun Adventure Kickstarter.
Oh, good. Okay, nice.
So after I've recovered from editing this crazy long video, maybe I'll film an unboxing of that one.
Yeah, if you want to do that, let me know too, because we can do that as a live stream. We can just kind of hang out some night and open that up. Yeah, because that's more fun. And that was the funny thing Carolina said, because when I put together quickly that Warmachine, showing off the digital library and talking about the Steamforge taking over Warmachine, Carolina said, "Oh, I thought this was going to be a live stream. Just watching a video now is kind of boring because there's no there's no interaction. It's just like, I could put a comment, but what the hell does that do?" Yeah.
Yeah, well, doing it as a live stream would actually make it so I don't have to edit anything.
Yes,
So that'd
yeah,
be
that's the
cool.
nice part of it too. Yeah, as long as you
I
stop
just don't.
swearing, all the profanity is gonna you're gonna have to tone down that.
Oh, really? Dang.
But yeah, no, that'll be fun.
Okay, cool.
Yes, nice. All right, well, yeah, we'll be back soon. And oh, that's right, dueling wrenches. That's right. I forgot when you were missing, Matt. Things went crazy, and Abyss now has mod
Oh, I
capability.
know. I know. He was very woe is me about it on the Discord. Like, oh, it's so hard. Just kidding, Abyss.
I haven't heard the
Uh,
wrenches clanging against each other yet, so I'm waiting for that.
well, just one of your wrench possessors doesn't talk about growing weed and selling it. So,
Yeah, don't do that on Japanese airwaves. Oh no.
oh yeah, they're gonna come and get you.
You'll be Paul McCartney. Yeah, you won't be welcome here on your tour. Uh,
They're gonna send one dedicated police officer to Europe to pick you up.
right. Well, cool. Well, yeah. So thanks for everybody hanging out. It was good to see you. And yeah, Arturo hit me up. Oh yeah, City of Heroes. Oh, City of Heroes. I miss that game so much. Yeah, the MMO. It was
That was an
great.
MMO, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Will used to play that game all the
Yeah,
time.
that was good times. Yeah, that was early days of MMO. So yeah, everything was hard and stupid, but really fun. Uh, yeah, I'm sure there's still private servers of that running, but it's too bad that died. All right. So yes. So thanks everyone, especially the members and patrons, for your support. And we'll be back again tomorrow with our Fallout actual play. So it may be the ultimate, the conclusion of the campaign. Who knows? But yeah, we'll have some fun in in the wasteland. And I think I saw Mojave Mo Problems as a slogan for the New Vegas setting. So. That's what we'll be doing. Mojave Desert Desert Combat.
Nice.
So see everybody then, and yeah, take care, and we'll be back again next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.